So one of the great things about hair is that it can block stuff. So now my hair is long enough. It's at the point that where you don't even know that there's a giant white, ugly, cumbersome pole behind me because my hair, for the most part, is hiding it. And all I gotta do is just make sure I don't show it to you, and you won't even know it's there, except I guess I just told you it's there, but you can ignore it. You can pretend it's not there. It's not gonna distract you like it does me. So assignment 5.1 is a continuation of exploration of the ISTE standards for students. In the starter, you worked on the standards for educators. In this assignment, you'll get to know the standards for students. And you are going to have, for one part of the assignment, a strict and probably difficult word limit. And that is deliberately done to encourage you to find different means beyond writing to express your thinking and learning. The links to the standards for students are similar to the ones that I have in the starter, as well as the narrative of the and a visual description of the architecture, which is at the bottom. For this week's tech tool options, you should use an assessment tool and some tool that helps you build your tech tool capacity from previous week's work, and that's really up to you. So an assessment tool and something else. Before getting to the specific types of assessment tools, you should check out the following resources that I share. And really, this is not demanding or really pushing you to try any particular form of assessment tool. It's just to get us thinking about assessment as something perhaps a little different than what we think of as testing. And this is indeed one of the ways that technology can really support modifying education, especially in remote learning, so that we, instead of substituting Google Forms, say, to do multiple choice testing, there are really a lot of good technology tools, perhaps combined with some of the tools that you've been learning in previous weeks, that we can really use to make assessment feel different for our students and for ourselves, and honestly to learn a lot more about what our students are thinking and learning. And I've got a bunch of stuff here, but really it boils down to there's no law that says that learning and assessment cannot happen simultaneously. So if you click on those, there's it's some information. And again, I'm not pushing you towards anything, but it's just something, if it works for you, try something a little different than you maybe otherwise would have. If you really want to work on figuring out ways to do multiple choice, true, false, etc., traditional kinds of assessment, do that. That's fine. There's no right or wrong here. You gotta focus on what's going to work for you. So there's a lot of tools out there that label themselves as assessment tools, including Google Forms, Socrative, Pear Deck, Kahoot, etc. And really feel free to expand your ideas about assessment by choosing a tool like Padlet or another tool that supports student expression of their thinking and learning, like Google Slides or Adobe Spark. For your additional tech tool, just use another tool somewhere in your response that helps you build your tech tool capacity from previous week's work. Video editing, podcasting, dynamic presentation, etc. There are a couple sections to the assignment. There is two parts, Part A and Part B, to the ISTE standards for educators and for students section. And then there's the tech tool learning reflection. So Part A, that's the part that has the 150 word limit. So there are 6 prompts, and between them you have 150 words total to use. You're probably not going to get as much expressed in those 150 words, so that's where your alternative tech tool, you got to figure out a different way to express your thinking, whether it's a video, whether it's just an audio recording, whatever it is. I encourage you to push your tech tool learning in as a form of expression. So the sections are Part A, ISTE standards for educators, just express responses to the prompts below. I'm not going to spend too long because I think they're pretty straightforward. Remember, 150 total words for prompts 1 through 6. And that's total, not 150 words for each. It's 150 words among all. So if you use 145 for prompt 1, you have 1 word responses for the other 5. All right, so that's part A. Part B, just use a tech tool, an assessment tool, to create a brief assessment that assesses the main idea of the ISTE standards for students. And just be sure to identify the audience, who you're making this assessment for, who's going to take it. Briefly describe the ideas you want to assess, and then create the assessment and make sure that I can see it either through the document that you submit with um, your other responses, or just share it as to my email address. Make sure I have access to. And then finally, the last section, tech tool learning reflection. I think I've tried to distill this down to its simplest form, so I hope this is helpful, and I hope the clarity is